pitch. Swing and long drive. There it is. Number 500 for Michael Jack Smith.
1-2 the count to Gary Ward. 2 outs in the ninth. He's 1 strike away from 300 victories. He went around and it's over.
Griffey going back to the 1-8 track, leaps high in the air, and he's got it! An incredible catch by the kid!
Hello, everybody. Charlie with JC3 Cards and Collectibles back with another liquidity list for baseball. Who's in the top 10 this week? Who is in the top spot? We'll find out right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Stu and I are back here with another Top 10 and 10. We've had a 2-week span here where we collected some data. We've lengthened out our updates a little bit from weekly to bi-weekly. We may even go to once every 3 weeks here. But it allows us to give a little more time for the card market to breathe and see if there's a little more change between updates there. So as we think about this week's list, I can give you a little bit of notice that not a lot of change, even after 2 weeks, but we did have some players shuffle around a little bit. In our second tier of 11 to 20, we did see a new entry in there, and that player has been a topic of great discussion in the hobby. So not too surprising to see him in there. The question will be, how long can they stay? So let's take a quick look at where we left off last week. Here's our top 10 last week. Get a good look at that so we can compare to where we end up this week. There have been some players on the move in the top 10, and it'll be interesting to see how far they can go and how long they can stay there. Baseball is in the thick of things right now. Should stay pretty relevant for a while. We get a little lull typically during the season. Baseball is a long season, so it'll be interesting to see maybe how much it slows down as the season drags on and then picks back up as we get towards the playoffs. Maybe even around the All-Star game, we get a little bump as well. Overall, the baseball market was down a little bit since our last update, but not tremendously. Nothing to be overly concerned about, but it is down slightly. We've had about 35,000 sellers, about 9 million listings in baseball. So sizable market there. Really no concerns. I still think baseball is king. It is the best market to be in long term, and time will tell if I'm right about that. So with that, let's get into our top 10 and 10, the liquidity list for baseball for the past 2 weeks. Enjoy.
Leading off our top 10 this week, Jason Dominguez. Number 9. The Express, Nolan Ryan. Number 8, Bobby Witt Jr. Number 7, Seattle's Julio Rodriguez. Number 6, sophomore Adley Rutschman. Rounding second and into our top 5, the Kid, Ken Griffey Jr. Number 4, Michael Nelson Trout. Number 3, the exciting Ellie De La Cruz. Number 2, Yankees slugger Aaron Judge. Tagging up to score the number 1 spot again, Shohei Ohtani.
Welcome back. Well, what do we have here this week? We have a down market, little bit of regression in overall market sales. And what we saw that translate to is a number of players' numbers were down. We saw a little bit of movement in that top 10, predominantly at that number 2 spot, where Aaron Judge was able to overtake Ellie De La Cruz simply because Ellie De La Cruz's numbers were down. Shohei's numbers were down as well, which allows Aaron Judge to close that gap a little bit. Shohei's numbers were down about 20% if we calculate it to week over week. Ellie De La Cruz was down about 25%. So that was, I think, the biggest move on the chart, on the list this week. Mike Trout, Ken Griffey Jr. still holding steady there. J-Rod dropped a little bit, but was able to hold on to his spot. J-Rod's down about 15%. Adley Rutschman is still doing well. He saw a little regression. He actually climbed a spot over Julio because Julio's numbers dropped to that 15%. Bobby Witt Jr. still sitting strong in there. Nolan Ryan and Jason Dominguez flip-flopped as well. Again, Nolan Ryan's numbers are pretty steady, but Jason Dominguez opened the door for him by dropping about 18% week over week. So the theme in the top 10 is the movement is all because cards were falling. And that opened the door for some of those stalwarts. I mean, Aaron Judge has probably been in the top 10 for years now. Shohei's been in the top 10 since he arrived on the scene. Mike Trout, he's a perennial top card. Griffey's perennial legend Hall of Famer. And Nolan Ryan as well. Julio, Bobby Witt, those guys, it's yet to be seen if they're going to be regulars in this list over the course of their career, but they have the potential. And then Jason Dominguez is the rookie of the group. I don't anticipate Jason Dominguez is going to stay there. I think he's going to drop out soon. Now, if he surges during the season, he'll jump back up on this list, I'm sure. But I just don't think he's going to hold on to that number 10 spot for much longer the way he's dropping. All right, so let's look at the Tier 2 players as well. Numbers 11 through 20, we'll put them up here. Take a look at that. We see Bryce Harper, Paul Skeens. He continues to slide. Mookie Betts, Corbin Carroll, my personal favorite player in the league right now. Anthony Volpe surging up about 17%. I was able to get a few Anthony Volpe rookies when he broke in last year. Had some nice PSA graded cards that I flipped. Still have some Volpe, the low end Volpes yet that I continue to buy and sell. I think I want to hold and see a little more on him moving forward to see what kind of staying power he's going to have. Gunnar Henderson is down quite a bit. So between Adley and Gunnar, I think it's pretty clear who the dominant sophomore is. Number 17, Josh Gibson. That's a fun one for me. Josh Gibson has not been on our list before, but as we know, Major League Baseball has finally conceded the stats from the NLB are going to be merged with the MLB here. And that makes Josh Gibson one of the greatest of all time in all of baseball officially. He was an amazing player. I wish I could have seen him play in person. Everything I've read, everything I've watched that talks about him is just amazing what he could do. So it's good to see him up in the charts there. It'll be interesting to see how long he stays. Luis Hill is still holding strong in that top 20. And of course, Derek Jeter is still in that top 20. I don't think he'll ever leave it. And then number 20, again, with a boost from Major League Baseball's announcement of bringing in the NLB stats, Hank Aaron is in the top 20. One of my favorites because, of course, he played for the Milwaukee Braves before they went to Atlanta. Hammer and Hank, it's always good to see him out there. I've been trending him for a number of weeks now since we started this. His cards are actually down. He's had better weeks, but hanging on in that top 20. He's been in there about 3 different weeks now since we started doing this, so that's always good to see. So as you can see, tier 2's got some potential in there too. Some guys that can move up. You know, I could see Mookie Betts moving up at any time. Corbin Carroll, Volpe is a possibility. Henderson, if any of those guys get on a heater during the season, I could see them jumping into the top 10. And then beyond the top 20, if we look into the top 30 players, who are some guys to be on the lookout for? Well, Bo Jackson, I think, could break into that top 20 at any time. Vladdy Guerrero, if he has a hot streak going on, he could break into that top 20. Cal Ripken Jr. is in that next tier of players. I could see him getting into the top 20. But that's about it from the top 30. I think the other guys in there, they are Hall of Famers and outstanding players. You got some greats like Mantle, Ruth, Mays, Ricky Henderson. But I think their numbers are pretty stable. I can't see them jumping enough to get up into the top 20 or that top 10. One name I want to call out in that third tier from 21 to 30 that is a little bit surprising because this is a rookie that got off to a hot start. He was in the top 20 the last 2 weeks and has fallen completely out. He's sitting at number 28 in my list right now. But that is Milwaukee Brewers' Jackson Chourio. So that shows you how volatile it can be if you're not performing in the league. You go into a cold streak, your card volumes can just plummet as well. All right, so that's what we got for you this week. Stu and I have been hard at work crunching the numbers so you don't have to. Quick reminder, everybody, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central, over at the Dollar Box channel, the Dollar Box Live, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central. Adam and I from the Dollar Box, we get together, we bring Stu along, and we have a live stream every Wednesday night. It's a very interactive conversation. We go back and forth with the chat all night while we talk a little news, a little knowledge, and of course, Stu's favorite, some nonsense. So be sure to check us out there. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button so you can know when we get new content out. Hit that like button if you're enjoying this content. Make sure to let me know. Always encourage your comments in the video. If you've commented before, you know I will answer everyone pretty quickly. Always enjoy the conversation on these videos. So if you think I missed a player, put them in there. If you are wondering about a player that we didn't talk about, I will give you those numbers as well. All you got to do is ask. So thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this information helps you. Until next time, peace out. Take care of each other.